As a minister. Woo woo. You like my devil box, guys? Anyway. This is work. Brian, was that funny? I can't tell. I can't see his smile. His mouth. All right, cool. So when I made this slide, it did show up a lot better. So I'm so sorry, but I think you guys can read it. All righty. Knowing your role and limitations in ministry as pastoral counselor. So your boundaries protect you, your ministry, and the people you serve. I know a handful of ministers who unfortunately did not have strong boundaries and with other saints and were either falsely accused or messed up on their own. So just an FYI, we got to make sure that we have strong boundaries. So that's why this is so critical. So, are you ready? Okay. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, why do boundaries matter? Why do you think boundaries matter? They protect people. What else? Why do boundaries matter?
There's different kind of boundaries. We're not talking about a specific one, or does boundaries stick to some specifics?
Were you not listening to me this whole time? Boundaries and pastoral counseling.
Yeah.
Okay, so just tell me what's on your mind.
I mean, boundaries. I'm just wondering. Boundaries is very general. Is it a boundary not to talk to other people, of course, like
Okay,
trust
that's a
person?
boundary, yeah.
No, but there are many different ones. So this is now a general term for whatever.
What does it mean to you? When I say, why do boundaries matter? What initially comes to your mind when you're thinking, okay, a boundary matters, what's a boundary?
I mean, the only thing what I'm saying is about also to protect ourselves. Because if you dive too much into with your brain or thoughts or whatever, then you can really harm yourself.
So what would be a boundary for that so that you would avoid that?
I mean, what I think could be tricky is not to be affected too much,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the problem of other people. But if you're too empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Mm-hmm.
can cause a problem.
Okay, there you go. So you have to watch out the emotional boundary that you might need.
Emotional boundary.
Yeah. Anybody else? Emery, I saw your hand. I also saw your hand. Go ahead. Why do boundaries matter?
Oh yeah. Because they create. I mean, I'm thinking even just boundaries in the sense of like whenever you're raising kids, you know,
Sure.
they have boundaries. I think it creates like confidence in
Okay.
situations and trust.
Okay, I love that. Nice. Thank you. Why do boundaries matter?
I would say as Christians that we should have boundaries, meaning, for example, in a conversation or our values that we have our values, but we need boundaries to them so no one steps on our values, meaning disrespect them or disregard them. So everyone who has a set of values that they believe in should have boundaries coming with them to protect them, protect themselves, because their values obviously mean something to them, something personal. And in order not to be hurt or disrespected and to be respected, we need boundaries.
Okay, very good. So boundaries in pastoral counseling, it presents burnout and moral failure, promotes trust and credibility, and protects the minister and counselee. These are just 3 out of many reasons why we need to have boundaries. Okay. Biblical examples of boundaries. Moses delegating in Exodus 18. He couldn't do everything by himself. Jesus setting limits with crowds. Mark 1:35 through 38. Paul giving ethical guidance in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. These are all biblical examples that boundaries need to be made. Yes. yeah, what is going to, I mean, Jesus is still a human being. He was walking on earth as a human being. So he has human, what is it called? He's bound by the flesh. So he has so much energy. How long can he go with the crowd? How, how many people can he be with? I mean, just stuff like that. Not saying that Jesus was a superstar and only 5 people could, take photos with him. You know what I mean? Yes. How much time do I spend with the crowd, for instance? So what kind of boundaries should we have? That is a question for us. What kind of boundaries should we have and set in place? What kind of boundaries should we have? That is something for you to decide. I'm not going to give you a whole list of what your boundaries should be. What are your boundaries? So types of boundaries. Time boundaries, availability, sessions. We can't be counseling 24/7. You're going to be completely depleted. Emotional boundaries. Avoid over-identifying with the counselee, empathy. Physical boundaries, meet in a safe, public, appropriate places. I would encourage women not to meet alone with men if you are counseling and vice versa. Relational boundaries, avoid dependency and dual relationships. So what that means is the person pretty much can't function in society without you. They become codependent on you. Dual relationships, you got to look out and be self-aware of counseling somebody, but also being, this is more for pastors, you have to be wary of friendship and being a counselee. Next one. Setting clear expectations. Define the purpose of pastoral counseling. If you're sitting down with a saint in the church, define, hey, this is what this is. We're going to talk about this. This is speech therapy, not speech therapy as pronunciation, but speech therapy as like cognitive behavioral therapy. We're going to sit and we're going to talk about what's going on in your life. Communicate confidentiality and its limits, knowing that, hey, what's being said here is going to stay here unless it's going to be harmful to you or to somebody else. Establish session duration and frequency. If somebody is wanting a session, let's say marriage counseling, I can meet with you and your spouse for 45 minutes Thursday evening, something like that, once a month. Just an example. I'm not saying do that. Red flags in counseling relationships. Over dependence on the pastor. Like I mentioned, they become codependent. So they're always coming to you anytime something happens. I broke a nail. They're weeping to the pastor. They're becoming too codependent on the individual. Repeated boundary testing, emotional and romantic attachments, and refusal to accept the pastoral limits or ministerial limits. The role of confidentiality, as you can tell, this is a huge thing. Promise privacy, but not secrecy. Legally and ethically required to report threats of harm. Protect dignity while honoring law and safety. Confidentiality builds trust, and you must know your legal limits, especially here in Austria. Sure. So secrecy is like if you're doing something that's illegal, like this is left field, but let's say you're selling drugs or something, and you come to me and like, I'm feeling so bad about this, I'm doing this, I know that's illegal. I'm not going to be like, oh, God's just going to forgive you. Like, stop doing it. But okay, there's laws involved here. I'm now protecting a criminal, for instance, with that knowledge. Does that make sense? Does that clarify it? Okay. And lastly, but also extremely important, referral is not failure. Referral is not failure. I know too many people, ministers, who try to take on people who need professional help. They probably need to be on some kind of medication. They need to see a psychiatrist as well as a psychologist. But the pastor believes that they're able to do it, and unfortunately, that person ends up not in the best of care. Referral is not failure. Know when to refer. Mental illness, addictions, and trauma, severe traumas need to be referred. Build a trusted referral network. Caritas is a fantastic, it's actually a Christian, they do have a free Christian counseling hotline. Caritas, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're Catholic, but they say they're Christian. I mean, they're faith-based. Yeah. Follow up spiritually after referral. Hey, how is it going with your counselor? How is it going with the person I introduced you to, the new doctor, et cetera, et cetera. Know that you still care about them. And then we have one last thing, and we're going to probably end up being about 20 minutes early, so that's good. We're going to do practice. Where is the line? Okay. Take a card, any card. Okay, why do you guys do this?
Sorry. Ich hab's jetzt erklärt.
Do you need those others ones back?
No, you can throw it away. Why are you this person? Just take one. See? Why is she doing that? Did you get one? Okay. Wait just a second. Alrighty. Wait. All right, so you're going to get back into your old pairs if you can, if you don't mind. I know you're tired. We're almost done, guys. You're going to love me because I'm finishing early. Okay, you want to stay? Okay, that's fine. So one person is going to play the pastor or the counselor, and the other person is going to play the church member. You can decide amongst yourselves on the two different prompts that you guys have. And you need to practice active listening. You need to set a boundary, so figure out what boundary you need to set and decide at the end whether you need to continue with this person, refer this person to a professional, or to end the session. All right. You have a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, we acted out. Okay. My team. My boy.
And I want to answer this question.
A church staff member. So one of you guys is going to be a staff member, and you have severe depression but refuses to step down from ministry duties to seek professional help. And so you will be the pastor.
Okay.
And so what do you do?
You fire.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So he's struggling with severe depression. He is coming to work hours late. He's sleeping. You're randomly crying at times. You're randomly getting angry sporadically. He's not eating. He's not drinking. He's not hygiene is non-existent already. So, what do you do? What do you do? What should you say? Is this a boy or a girl? Because your hands were on the leg, so it better be. Boundaries. Are you giving advice? Yeah.
Or she has asked, does she have to go online? Does she have to decide if they need to be online as well?
Yeah, so you're going to pick a boundary, but you're not giving advice. So you need to practice active listening.
I'm going to How could you say that, Pastor Faith? I will.
Für every session, also die haben ja schon eine Session zusammen. Aber das ist ja das Problem, Mann, Frau. Das würde ich fast als Frage stellen, weil man sollte ja. Ah, the question. Genau. Single church member brings coffee and there are hints they want a closer personal connection to every session. So it's already about the session. But then the problem would
Single church member begins bringing small gifts to every session and hints to wanting a closer personal connection.
so if I think of a romantic thing, which is probably so I'm a male pastor and the female but should the male pastor have sessions with the female?
So what?
Should a male pastor have sessions with a female at all, or should his wife be terrible?
That's a boundary. So you want your, if you were the pastor, you would want your wife there. That is a boundary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that or that she at least is on your side.
Exactly.
While you, yeah.
Just in the room.
And if the other person has a problem with him as a second person, we know it's a boundary. Then, okay, because I'm your wife, I don't do it.
Right, exactly.
If you just want to talk to me, why don't you talk to my wife about this? If she's also eligible to do things like that.
But just saying, hey, I cannot meet one-on-one with single people, so my wife is gonna.
And how is it if it's about counseling sessions? Here in church, could a specific pastor and his wife has to give counseling is in a different direction, but there are other people. Are you counseling or?
No, not unless like a young person comes and wants to talk to me. It's mostly with college students.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see.
Aber was ist mit diesem sick professional help? What if the person is so
But there are
just
other
leaking
people
garden
besides
was
the
with any
pastor
other help?
and his wife?
Aber
Not,
was ist,
not
wenn die Person
anybody
so
else.
ist?
So
Man muss
pastor
doch
could
diese
probably,
Richtung
if
halt
it's a
denken.
specific problem and this person has experience in this field, this is,
Yeah.
I don't know, financial stuff. And
Yeah, to go to you. Yeah,
something like this, yeah, he could kind of pass this task on.
exactly.
Das ist Common Sense, weil Depression ist da oben. Das ist noch mehr Depression da.
Alrighty. Coming back in, I'm going to ask you to start thinking, what boundary did you set? A time boundary, an emotional, relational, or confidential boundary? What boundary did you have to set? Then I'm going to ask you, decide whether to continue seeing this person, referring this person, or to end the session, stop meeting with them. Alicia, A is the first letter in the alphabet. What boundary did you have to set? Actually, tell us what your prompt was.
A parent in the congregation wants you to secretly counsel their teen about gender identity without the teen knowledge or consent. So, should I open up about my my Schützling? Should I say what she? Okay, I counseled her because of her son,
Yeah?
and her son is he is not. She thinks he is homosexual because of some things she found,
Okay.
and I counseled her about this topic, but my boundaries that I set was to respect, how should I say, it's important to respect the son's privacy,
Okay.
but of course he's 15 years old, so of course to have to be an eye open, of course she has to have some control, but to respect his his privacy. First boundary I would say, which we have set, and then the second boundary was in the counseling with him, especially, that I wouldn't say if this was a boundary that I set with him, but no, I wouldn't say this was a boundary. It was just the way I tackled the topic with him. But I would say the only boundary I set, I think, in our things was privacy. Yeah, The only topic boundary I've said was the boundary of privacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And would you be seeing this mother again? Or are you going to refer her to a professional or end it?
I would definitely see her again
Okay.
because her assumption, it was an assumption that assumption of her that her son was gay, and we both don't really know if he is. So
Mhm.
this is something that we need to spectate on time. Wie sagt man? Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or recommendations for her as she's counseling this mom?
A parent in the congregation wants you to secretly counsel their teen about gender identity without the teen's knowledge or consent.
Hmm.
You got the heavy stuff.
Mhm.
Ja, es ist schon
Aber einzeln oder so eine Gruppe?
nur mit ihm.
Ich sag, du musst das vielleicht.
But of course, one boundary, sorry, that came into my mind is not to, that she's, how should I say, because she was talking about private stuff with me about her son, so she needs her son to know that she's sharing this information with me. So she needs to, first boundary is that she needs to respect his privacy by not schnüffeln in seine Sachen herum, by not spectating in too much.
I would disagree because he's a 15-year-old boy that lives in his home, her home.
Okay, but there needs some privacy, don't you think?
I mean, sure, you would respect, I mean, as kids get older, as they become teenagers, they want more privacy and things like that. But you're in my home. So sometimes 15-year-old boys don't make the best decisions. However, if you have something like this, she is going to the pastor and wanting him to counsel him with, yes, without his consent. So it's almost like you're, what is it called, like bulldozing him? And so it's not the most ethical thing. So what would be a very good idea would be, absolutely, I'll be praying for your son. I understand this is very difficult for you. Maybe talk to her, counsel her about it, because she might be struggling with a lot of anxiety. She might not know how to control her own emotions, which push him further away, wants to hide more things like that. And so helping her through it, because if he's not wanting help, and this also is on addiction and things like that, if he doesn't see it as wrong and he doesn't want help, then there's nothing that you can do. Your hands are tied. You can only pray and help her. So that's my 2 cents. But it's very easy to
Very much
be
so,
like,
yeah.
rip the door off of his wall and don't let him hide anything under his bed and da 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 da. And it's a lot. It's a hard one. You got the hard one. Okay, Hillary. You didn't get to the second one. Okay. Go ahead.
We have the first scenario was actually hers. A teenager opens up about substance use and begs you not to tell their parents, even though it's impacting their health and school. So I counseled her in this situation, and basically I reassured the person that I asked a follow-up question how they got to the substance to find out like if it's from own volition or their friends. And like the boundary I set is that obviously this is not my own child and he's a teenager, so the parents with like substance use needs to know, and I like reassured the teenager in that like I'm not trying to tattletale on you, but like your parents will be happier about you telling them about the substance use and about the problem that you have, and then you get professional help than me trying to like roll over your parents and decide for you, or the teenager decides for themselves, basically.
So you would refer him?
Yeah, I refer them to seek professional help.
Refer always means to send to the doctor, professional.
Send to a professional. So a psychiatrist, a psychologist. Yeah. First a psychologist, and then the psychologist will send to the psychiatrist. Imri, you ripped up your.
She did.
Okay, all right. It was very
Okay, so-
intense.
She was a church elder's spouse requesting counseling, but threatens to leave the church if you refer them to someone else.
Oh, okay.
So, I began, obviously she explained her situation and how she was very adamant about, like, not receiving, professional help. And so, I mean, I explained that, that's not something I would be able to negotiate with. However, it's not because I was trying to just be against her and her opinion or offend her, but it's actually there to protect her. If she becomes in danger or if she's endangering other people, that like it's something that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like if she's not okay with that, then there's nothing more I can do for you
Mhm.
because I'm not going to budge with that.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up coming to the conclusion that that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But however, if she had still been adamant, and so in that case, I would still see her and see where it goes. And if she had still not been able to come to terms with that, I would have not been able to see her anymore.
Okay. So you continue to see her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Brother Arno, what's yours?
A single church member begins bringing small gifts like coffee, homemade treats to every session and hints at wanting a closer personal connection. So I thought the boundary would be that if it's about men and women, that they don't counsel alone. So if I'm the pastor, for example, to take my wife with me on the counseling session, so that such situations don't happen at all. And if it happens, to talk to the person, hey, come on, we can't go on like this if you continue like this, or just as a protection, take your wife then immediately
Yeah.
to the counseling session.
Good idea. Yes. Just have your wife there. Anybody else
And
wants
if you
to
don't
add
have
to
a
that?
wife?
Then I've married this girl.
You know what? I'm done. We're not. We're done.
Not just if the
If she makes some brownies, it's a done deal.
if I like the homemade treats.
Oh my gosh. Well, what would you do if you were not married? Would another man be beneficial in that room? If it's a woman and two men?
Hurts a lady. Another man.
That's not.
Yeah, why?
not
I'm just wondering. So, if I'm married, I take my wife in the situation. Just any third person. No. No, you don't. But at least, I mean, you can't meet in private somewhere.
Right, so that's why we talked about meeting in public.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering if I'm an unmarried pastor,
Yeah.
if I could bring in another man from church or any other person. I mean, if the third person is willing to. I'm confused now.
Okay. I will let Pastor answer this, but what I know from past experience and false accusations, when a pastor's single and he's bringing in another man to help counsel a woman, it never goes good.
Okay.
But that's why I'm stressing always meet in a public place.
Yeah.
But let's say you were in the pastoral position, what would be a good idea besides bringing in just another male minister?
But why does it not work out with another male? Is this a bad experience on this? I'm just wondering. Because you're then three at least
Yeah.
in this situation.
It's kind of like an authoritative gang up. It's like the power dynamics are a little bit different. It's just not good. It doesn't look good. It's not. It's just it never ends well. It ends up being very. From past experience that I've had other ministers go through, it ended up poorly because there was a lot of dominance, I guess you could say.
But to bring in another woman you're not married with is also not a good idea.
What do you think, Pastor Bass?
I'm sorry, so what's the situation?
So he is a pastor, but he's single, and he's counseling a girl, and she's bringing in gifts and things like that, and he's getting the feeling that she wants a closer relationship with him. So I say, don't bring in another male minister, to probably bring in another female.
Yeah.
It's better to bring in the female.
That would be mine, but maybe.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, I don't think there's, so far as I know, I wouldn't say there's necessarily a rule about it, but if the question is, what is better,
Yeah.
then, yeah, I mean, probably, Cynthia, as opposed to another elder man.
Yeah.
Totally.
Then you have two girls fighting for the.
Yeah, but they're not fighting you. You're counseling her. So you're counseling, you're not fighting. Yes?
I would say if the person, if the girl is romantically attracted to this single pastor, she shouldn't be counseled by the single pastor, period. It doesn't mean,
Yeah, just
so, egal ob irgendwelche Personen mitnimmt, she will not be focused on the word, he will focus on him, so they need to switch the person who is counseling her.
Could be. So he can end it. He can set a boundary. If it doesn't change, then he needs to end it and refer her to somebody else.
or as a pastor, you hurry up and get married yourself.
Oh
and
my gosh.
continue.
This is why.
Pastor's trying to wrap up the conference. I think you're done. It's like, oh wait, you know, have the other voices we have.
All right, marvelous.
Better to be married as a pastor.
Marvelous, go ahead.
A church staff member discloses severe depression but refuses to step down from ministry duties or seek professional help.
What would you do?
As a pastor or
Yeah. So you have somebody, you care about them, they're on the ministerial team, they're battling severe depression. So we went over what severe depression is. They're not functioning. It's very hard to see, not eating, sleeping, no hygiene, crying, anger, things like that. So they're not functioning. And they don't want to go get help. What do you do?
I think I would talk to that person
Yeah.
to see what is actually the problem, what might be the problem. Not to force the person to speak to you, but like just to ask like, hey, is everything okay? And if the person opens up, then maybe from there you can like, wie sagt man das, einschleichen, dass sie zu einem Professional Help.
Yeah.
Ja, dass sie zu einem Professional Help gehen soll.
Start finding compromises that they're comfortable with. But yeah, they might not even realize how big of a problem this is too, because with depression, especially severe depression, it becomes a very selfish, and I mean selfish as in like self-centered. They're focusing so on themselves they don't realize how they're coming off to the public. And so they're just trying to survive, keep their head above water, and so they probably don't even realize what is going, how they're being perceived, especially when you're in ministry.
But as a consequence, I mean, you have to step them down. if
No,
they're not
I'm
beneficial.
sorry. I shouldn't have written it like that. It sounds like they're being punished, like you're stepping down from ministry, like you can no longer
Yeah,
be
it's
in
not about,
ministry.
we punish you.
But even just like a break, like you have so much
Yeah,
going
break,
on, maybe it is a good idea that you get help, stuff like that. Pastor, you want to add anything? Here's a knife. No, I'm just kidding. All right. With that being said, we ended about 20 minutes early. Does anybody else have any questions? Comments? Yes.
So how could I get into Christian counseling? Like, would I have to study like actual psychology, and then, or how would this come about? Can I do it without a degree, or
I mean, the degree would be best.
okay, so I cannot
Like,
do it unless I have a degree.
I mean, I would recommend a degree. They do have Seal Sorga at the university that's focused on like Christian-based counseling. But like an actual degree, I mean, you'll learn all the techniques and everything like that if you go through like psychology. Yeah. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I was asking here in church, so you and your wife are doing counseling in certain situations. Are there other people, or since sometimes you might refer someone to, if there's a specific problem about, I don't know, finances, whatever, you can send it to some other person. But that kind of official form of counseling, are you the only ones, or how would you say? So
like in
who provides counseling
COA?
in our church?
Yeah, so in COA, we don't have any licensed counselors, but, you know, I mean, my wife and I, we have friends
So there's no specific COE or PCI licensing for this kind of
No.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. Gotcha.
Usually that's specific to your college, your university, I think, or whatever licenses Christian Council. There's some sort of